Good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are listening to this. This is Coach Potatoes. This is week 15 of the NFL, December 14th. I'm Dallas.
This is Jeff as well.
And do we just want to get into the meat of football? Anything else?
The meat of football. I think we should go ahead and just get right into it. Starting off today with our Fast 5 week 14 review. Which game do you want to start with this week?
I think the Pats and Rams is a fun one to start with.
Okay.
Just because it's interesting to see the Patriots lose and continue to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy because this 20-year dynasty feels like it's over, at least for the time being. Last week I did preach that the Patriots dynasty might return for another year of winning games, but we'll definitely see. We'll have to give it some time, and the Patriots just did not play up to par this week. The 220 total yards of offense for the Patriots, which is just terrible.
Yeah.
Patriots defense played okay. They're going to play either good or great. The defense was not what you expect it to be. But on the other hand, the Rams, Cameron Akers, 171 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Exploded onto the field.
They have to let him continue to be the primary carrier. I know they were doing running back by committee with Darrell Henderson and what's his name, Malcolm Brown.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it. Cameron Akers has shown himself to be an elite athlete against the Patriots defense run by probably the best defensive-minded coach ever. Any other thoughts you have on this one?
This one surprised me. I picked the Pats to win, even though I was saying the dynasty was over. And the Rams still somehow, just dominated. The Rams had 6 sacks versus New England's
I wrote that
1.
down as well.
And the fourth down conversion. New England going for it 3 times, didn't get a single one, and the Rams 2 for 2.
Wow. So they had 0 fourth down conversions.
Yeah, on 3 attempts.
That's incredible. Yeah, I definitely watched the highlights on all of these Fast 5 games, and I saw that the Patriots specifically, they did terrible on 3rd and 4th down. They just weren't a good team.
No.
Just all around, I think that their defense was okay, but the offense is awful. I don't think Cam Newton is the player that most of us thought he might be. Definitely not 2015 Cam. He looks slow.
He looks slow, and the only good Cam on the field was Cam Akers.
Exactly. I totally agree. I think N'Keal Harry had a couple of really good grabs. I think that N'Keal Harry with a solid quarterback behind him might be even more than just a bust.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's scheming wise. I don't know what the issue is, but I know for sure Cam Newton looks slow. He's holding the ball too long. That's part of the reason why they have so many sacks.
Yes, it is.
And I'm just kind of over it. I think this season is a wash for the Patriots, and we'll have to see what happens next year.
Yeah. The next game would be Arizona and the Giants. Had Cardinals taking it. They did. Bigger beatdown than I thought, 34-31. What was your take?
Oh, real quick, before we move off,
yeah.
Let's talk about our scores from the Patriots-Rams real quick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I had 31-28 Patriots. Quite the take. You had 24-17 Patriots.
A little closer.
You were definitely a little closer. Both of us completely wrong.
Yeah.
Patriots took the L, scoring 3 points to the 28 points of the Rams. The Rams offense was obviously humming, even though Jared Goff didn't throw for a lot. But that's all. I think I just wanted to go back and touch on the scores for that one. Cardinals at Giants. Continue, please.
That one, my prediction was 34-31 in OT. What was yours?
I had 26-17. So I was right on the dot with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I thought the Giants offense, was a little bit better. So I thought they might be able to put up another 10 points. I think a couple of turnovers were the reason, though, for that, because the Giants lost 3 fumbles during this game.
Yeah.
Offense is problematic, and Daniel Jones, same thing with Cam Newton. He's holding the ball far too long. That's causing fumbles, strip sacks, and just regular sacks. The Cardinal defense is incredible. They had 8 sacks on the day.
Yeah.
8 sacks. That's nuts. Daniel Jones is a sort of mobile quarterback in the way that he can run. We've seen him run, even though if he trips after about 70 yards, he can get to that 70-yard mark, and then he'll be on the ground with his face in the grass.
Yeah.
But, I'm really impressed with what they were able to do on the Cardinals side, for sure. Just one more player I wanted to point out is Hassan Reddick had 5 sacks for himself that whole game.
Yeah, 43-yard pushback for those 5 sacks. So very crucial player.
Absolutely.
I would say the MVP of that game.
Absolutely the MVP. Someone who was in my MVP talk, to kind of transition, Kyler Murray throws the ball up way too much. He's throwing it like he's praying every time.
He likes his 50-50s.
I don't.
He's young.
I like quarterbacks who throw it up every now and then, like Pat Mahomes. Every 10th throw might be like a little bit of a punt, which is okay. You take a chance. But God, it was just way too much. Way too much throwing it up in the air like that. I think he got in trouble at least once or twice where it was either picked or almost picked. Well, I just don't like it. I don't like to see that kind of always risk taking. I want to see some more accuracy from him, and I think he can develop that.
I think that sort of goes with Kingsbury learning to hone in on the offensive play calling of the NFL too. I mean, that's a college quarterback and a college coach.
Yeah.
Sort of just exploring what they can do and how far they can push an offensive envelope. I like that.
Yeah.
I think it does need to get pushed back a little. Maybe rope it in a little.
I agree.
But for now, throw the 50-50s up. I mean, they're still in contention. He has the best guy to catch him in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. I wish that he would maybe put it in DeAndre Hopkins' window more often, because it seems like he's just kind of throwing it up in his vicinity. And where DeAndre Hopkins is a huge window, so you don't really need to throw it up in his vicinity. As long as it's in that huge, ginormous window, around 5 yards around each direction around him, he's good. But if you're throwing it 10 yards away from him and in double coverage, it's like, come on, let's focus on when he can really make the plays. And there's a lot of plays where I think he misses Hopkins, and then he throws it to him when he's covered.
Even to this game, being an example, I think DeAndre Hopkins is a difference maker for the wide receiver core. He had 9 receptions, 136 yards. The rest of the wide receivers on that team had 108 yards and 15 receptions.
Wow, yeah, I didn't know that, but still, my point stands, I think, that I just think you can't throw it up that much and expect to win every game. If you go against a team that's humming on offense,
yeah,
because they got kept under 30 points this game. The Giants had 3 turnovers, 3 fumbles lost.
Yes.
But they were still able to keep the Cardinals under 30 points. That defense was humming. If they had an offense that was, a Chiefs offense, even a Seahawks offense, or a Packers offense, or even like a Colts offense, I think they would have won this game.
Well, they've lost the last 4 out of 6 against good teams, but they're not going against good teams to finish out the year, or even the teams they are playing. I think they could win out throwing the 50-50 balls. I don't mean to cut you off about your point, but
no, you're good.
These Cardinals, I think, could be legit, and I don't think they should change anything this season. Maybe tweak it in the offseason.
I think this method could get you into a wild card position, but this is not a Super Bowl winning team roster for sure. And I think that, especially throwing up the 50-50, I think if you don't focus on what you're good at and then be really good and hone those skills a lot, it's tough for this to really work out. I think one of the issues might be is that Kyler's a little too short to see beyond the lineman. There's always that's always the critique with short quarterbacks. But the amount of times that I see him wind up all the way back, basically have his elbow touching the ground, and then throw then throw it super deep. It's incredible for such a small person to be able to have that much force and velocity on the ball.
Yeah, and you make a lot of great points. You can't expect an MVP caliber game from a defensive player. You can't have a player step up like that. You can't expect the opposing offense to give the ball to you 3 times. This game shouldn't have been even as close as it is, even though it wasn't close.
Yeah. And I think one other thing I want to say is Kenyon Drake looks good again. Yeah. For the first part of this season, he looked really bad until the Cowboys were able to give him the the little kick in the butt, so he was able to kind of boost himself back up. I think he finished that game with like 141 rushing yards, which is just incredible. And I think he'll continue to get better and better as time goes on. I'm a big fan of Kenyon Drake at this moment.
Nice. We'll keep our eye on him.
Mm-hmm. What do you got next?
Next is Minnesota and Tampa. What was your projection there?
Minnesota and Tampa. I had them 20-34 going to Tampa.
Wow, okay. So we both picked the Bucks to win. Bucks do win it 14-26.
I think the actual score was kind of halfway in between both of ours.
It was close. I was 23-21. Pretty close on that one. A touchdown away for Minnesota and only 3 points away for Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the biggest takeaway, I don't have much to say about this game. It's just Brady missed a lot of big throws this game. The reason why the Vikings lost is because they couldn't punch it in the end zone when they needed to. And their kicker, Dan Bailey, oh my God, missed 3 field goals and 1 extra point. I was high on him last week.
Yeah.
I had a lot of nice words to say about him because he won the game for him last week against the Panthers. But this was awful. You can't play like that in the NFL. It's the reason why Dan Bailey was kicked off the Cowboys a couple years ago, unfortunately. I love the guy, sweet guy, but I just can't believe that with the amount of points taken off the board, the Bucks were still only able to put up 26 points. This game should have been like a complete blowout, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that you start off with Brady's errors because they are there, but with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, they might have the occasional hiccup, the wrong play call. One might think that it's a 4th down when it's now a turnover on downs.
4?
But they don't do it often, and you cannot hurt yourself against these people, which is what Kirk Cousins did to his team. He held onto the ball too long. He did not protect himself, which is just what you need to do when you're at that stage at quarterback. You're an older quarterback. You're not mobile. He should have slid a little more. He had 2 fumbles, lost 1. In a close game, you can't do that.
Absolutely not, especially when it's you're vying for a wild card position.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you touched on with Dan Bailey, just sometimes it happens. A Titans fan can tell you that with Gostkowski, with a lot of kickers we've had since Baronis, honestly. But you can still win those games.
Yeah, it sucks to see Bailey down again like this. Hopefully he can bounce back and keep his job. Unfortunately, I think after his history with the Cowboys and the Vikings, this might be his last spot that he makes a team at.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have to say about this game. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, that wraps it up. Kind of a gross game.
Yeah, I agree. Who you got next?
Next one was a really fun one, especially for us afterwards, especially going into it. That is Pittsburgh at Buffalo. I predicted 2014 going to the Bills. Where'd you lay?
I gave the Steelers 31. I gave the Steelers 30 and then the Bills 31. So I was high on the Bills this game.
Yeah.
As you were. I just think the biggest story from this game is the Steelers offense stinks. I don't know what happened. I guess they've always kind of been kind of stinky and they've been beating bad teams. But 1 for 10 on 3rd down and 47 rushing yards.
That's bad.
That's bad. Like, they need to fix this running game. And one thing I wanted to say though, real quick, before, and give you the floor. Has not been the same run game since Le'Veon Bell left.
No, and that's so weird because Le'Veon Bell isn't the same running back he was.
Exactly.
I'm sure we're going to be going back and forth on this one for a while just because it was a fun game. But one interesting thing I saw today, I wish I could remember the source, is this is the first time the Bills have beaten Pittsburgh at home. So shout out Bills Mafia.
In history?
In 20 years. The last time, 1999.
Wow.
They beat the Steelers at home. So
that's incredible.
Very, very happy for them because you hate to see a home shutout.
Yeah.
But, I mean, man, the Steelers offense is bad. The Bills offense is great. Stephon Diggs seems to have settled in nicely at his new home. 10 receptions on 14 targets, 130 yards and a touchdown. The Steelers are now 11-2, and do you think they lose more games in the next two? They're going up against Bengals and Colts.
They're going against Bengals and Colts. Is that their only 2 games left?
After that, they meet up with the Browns, Week 17.
Bengals, Colts. I can't see them losing to the Bengals. The Cowboys bullied the Bengals. The Colts, they could lose to the Colts. I think that the Colts is the most likely. Then the Browns, that's definitely a game where the Browns have a much, much better run game. I even think the pass game might be a tie between the two because with the amount of drops and Big Ben, he's never been a super accurate quarterback, but 2 terrible picks in coverage I watched. One of them was just right a little too far in front of the wide receiver. The wide receiver could have made a play on the ball, but just it wasn't worth it. And the other one was kind of they had a bunch of people covering. It looked like it might have been like a fake run, and they just chucked it up deep, like with probably like 10 minutes left in the fourth, and Ben just threw it in like triple coverage. And
it was bad.
It was just awful. It was gross. I'm literally making like a disgusted face right now.
Yeah.
It was not good. The defense, though. Oh, the Steelers' defense is so good.
How do you rejuvenate a blitz scheme so well?
It's so freaking good, and I can't explain it. They had a goal line stop. I believe it was sometime in the fourth quarter. That was just, oh my god. There was a pass interference call that came down to the 1, and then they stopped them. They even pushed them back to like the 10.
Wow.
So it was quite incredible to see the Steelers defense really stay true to what they are. But at the same time, it's just the offense can't do this to the defense. You know, they're going to have a revolting defense like the Bears did.
And you don't want to have that sort of aggression against your 2 sides of the ball going into the playoffs. You have to be a uniformed, consistent team.
Yeah, absolutely. My other kind of takeaway from this game is that the Bills, Josh Allen, he's back in MVP talks, in my opinion.
They've won 3 games in a row, and I mean, they could win out. They could. They
would have won 6 games in a row if it wasn't for the Hail Murray.
Yeah.
And honestly, they outplayed them that game. They should have won that game. It was just a lucky throw in the end zone at the end.
They are a sleeper team. They are going to take on the Broncos and Patriots next, and those are 2 easy wins the way they're playing.
Yeah, and then they have the Dolphins Week 17, I believe. So at the end of the day, you know, you could see the Bills even winning out if they are able to take down the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, God, that's just... It's good football, and it's created so many good matchups, especially that Dolphins game Week 17. There's going to be a lot of good football Week 17.
I'm really excited for that week. Any other thoughts on this game specifically?
No, that wraps it up great. I guess the last one, of course, isn't done yet. That's Baltimore and Cleveland. 2 really good rushing teams that aren't the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. 2 good defenses, shaky quarterbacks, Lamar and Mayfield. But at this point, Mayfield's the sturdier guy.
Yeah, at this point, it's really hard to see it any other way. I think honestly, my biggest takeaway without seeing this game yet is just divisional games can be surprising.
Yeah.
Let's not. The Browns are humming right now. The Ravens surely are not. They beat the Cowboys about a week ago. They're not really a great team right now. They've struggled with COVID and all of the above.
Yeah.
So, but I think that we got to wait and see because this is a divisional game starting in less than 5 minutes as of recording.
Yeah, yeah. So, just about to kick off.
Yeah, we'll give updates as the game goes on. Hopefully, it's a great game. I think it will be. I'm really pumped actually for this game. I want to watch it as soon as we are done recording. But what other thoughts do you have on this?
This one, I said 31-20 going to the Browns, and I feel even better about it now than when I said it last week. The Browns are a team that punched the Titans in the jaw. They're a team that has nothing but fire underneath them to continue playing well for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
And Mayfield could easily throw 4 touchdowns in the first half again.
I'm totally with you. I think that he definitely could. He could. I think that this Ravens defense might be a little bit better than the Titans. I like their linebacking core.
Yeah,
I like some of their secondary. We'll see. It might be kind of a tie between the two defenses. I'm not really sure.
What was your prediction, real quick?
I put them 27 Browns, 20 Ravens. I think this being a divisional game, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near a blowout any direction. I think it's just going to be kind of about a tie until like the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
We're close. Our predictions are close.
Yeah. You have about 4 more points for the Ravens. For the Browns, excuse me. So we'll just have to see. I'm definitely high on the Browns right now, but divisional games are always surprising, and I've learned my lesson because I've bet against I bet 4 blowouts in divisional games before, and it's not always going to happen.
Well, we'll keep you updated on that as we go. One of us will be checking, if not both, occasionally.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else about Baltimore and Cleveland you want to say?
I think that's it. I think that wraps up our Fast 5 review.
Cool. If you want to take over for the Week 14 recap, that's something I know you've definitely watched more football this week than me, as per usual.
Well, for our Week 14 recap, for all of you who are a little confused, this is the ones that we didn't do in our Fast 5. We won't be double dipping on those ones. We're just going to talk about the ones for last week that we haven't talked about yet. Let's start off first with Dallas's Titans, 31-10 over the Jags. My takeaway from this game: the King needs his crown with 212 rushing yards.
Crown him.
What's your takeaway from this game?
So much. Anytime Derrick Henry can go back down to his home state, maybe even home county, Yulee County, down there in Florida, and just assert his dominance on the worst football team in the AFC South is a good day for me. Christmas came early. Derrick Henry knew exactly what I wanted, and that's 200 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Mary D. Henber.
It's D. Hember. He's only going to get stronger against better run teams or worse, depending on who we're playing, Lions, Packers. A.J. Brown, stud. We've all seen the face at this point, the face of determination.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll either have it in the thumbnail or in the title screen for this segment. But A.J. Brown, that catch was incredible.
If you missed it in our podcast too, maybe look it up, save it, make it your screensaver.
Yeah. Please, screenshot it. Love it, adore it. It's a great picture.
And that's not to take away from Corey Davis. Corey Davis has been a stud all year, only behind Devontae Adams, up in Green Bay in the PFF rankings. So dog on each side. Dog in the backfield. Dog taking the ball under center. It's a hungry offense. Go on.
They are a lot of people want to count them out, but they are for real. The Titans are going to stay here for a good long while. I had something else I wanted to say, but it's okay.
Sorry,
I forgot about it. You're good.
My Titans get a fire in my heart.
You needed to get that out. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
I don't like to talk about it, but the defense is a dumpster fire in the rain, filled with baby diapers used, of course. Mm-hmm. It's bad. It's not. Where's Adoree Jackson? He's gone. He hasn't played a snap. Mike Vrabel can't get a scheme going. That's about it. The Jaguars at 1-11 aren't worth talking about.
Yeah. Sorry, Doug Marrone. Your team sucks. Let's go to Chiefs at Dolphins. Wow. Mahomes, 3 interceptions.
He's human.
Wow. The Dolphins, I think, I can't remember how many games. It might be every game this season so far. I don't know if that's true, but I know they're on a huge streak of getting a turnover at least each game, which is incredible. Brian Flores is a great defensive-minded coach. Really, really probably the best Belichick disciple at this time.
He definitely beats out Patricia as defensive guru.
I think I think Adam Gase beats out Patricia, the defensive guru.
I wouldn't say that.
I would definitely agree with that.
Oh, wow.
So one of them has their job still. Their job still.
The Chiefs did clinch the AFC West on this game, so that was important to them.
Yeah, I'm concerned with that many interceptions from Mahomes. I don't think this will become a trend. I think this is just a down game for him. Hopefully not a sign of things to come. I seriously doubt it's a sign of things to come, but it is worrying if you're a Chiefs fan. Like, this quarterback that you've paid $400-something million to. I think 2 interceptions is okay in a game. Once you hit 3, I'm getting concerned because I want you to take chances here and there.
Yeah.
And they're playing a really good defense. I think we should all hold our breath and not overreact from this game. But it is, either way, it's concerning if your franchise quarterback throws 3 interceptions.
Yeah, there are hiccups, but 3 interceptions is always going to look sloppy, reflecting on it. And the Dolphins showed some fight. I mean, they want to win.
Yeah, it came down to a onside kick that they almost got.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
No, I mean, surprising game.
Yeah, well, let's go next to the Broncos at Panthers. 4 passing touchdowns for the horse cock Drew Lock. What a man. He did it. No interceptions this game. His first game.
4-0, wow.
For his first game since from week 2, he hasn't had an interception.
And throws up a 4-pack. Wow.
Yeah, against a not a poorly run defense for the Panthers.
No.
They have some good faces on that side of the line of scrimmage. So I was really impressed with what they've done so far. Did you have any takeaways from this game?
This was one that slipped under the radar for me. I watched the highlights. Drew Lock impressed me for the first time since probably week 2. He looked a little lost, and that is a quarterback I was hoping the Titans would get.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the Mariota days, back before Tannehill sort of took the reins. I liked Drew Lock. I was high on him and a little upset the Broncos took him.
Yeah, he's really not been the greatest, and it's hard to be the greatest when Pat Shurmur is your offensive coordinator. We'll have more choice words for their head coach later. But I'm high on Drew Lock right now. I don't think he might not be the future of their franchise, but he definitely is right now. He's the present of their franchise.
The Panthers' pass defense specifically is such a dynamic, good pass defense. They can beat you in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they took the route of Drew Lock manning up and earning his horse cock.
Yeah.
Versus that committee running back style they could have beat him up with.
Yeah, Drew Lock has definitely earned his horse cock crown.
Got the crown and the badge.
It's great. Let's go next to the Texans Bears. This one was 36 Bears, 7 for the Texans. What happened?
What happened?
What happened? Is Mitchell Trubisky back? He passed for over 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, and kept the Bears in the playoffs. The Bears aren't done yet.
Mitchell Trubisky is the poster quarterback for inconsistency. And I'm not talking about through 4 quarters. You're going to get whatever Trubisky goes into that game for that game. He might be a little hard to start in the first half or second half, but he either is good or bad.
For me, it's really paralleling Daniel Jones. It feels they're both athletic white quarterbacks who have shown themselves to be able to pass, just not consistently.
Some would call it the Jay Cutler syndrome.
Wow, yeah, that's not a bad way to say it. Now we look at Jay Cutler, we look back on him and are like, he sucked. Will we have the same takeaway for both of these quarterbacks? I'm not sure yet.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not high on either of them, but Trubisky being back, I don't think so. I think this is a fluke. I think we should not overreact. It's 1 week. Give Trubisky some time to suck again. He definitely will.
Until he does it consistently.
Yeah.
He's Jay Cutler.
If they make the playoffs this year because of Trubisky, I might give him I might give him some credit. But right now it's hard. It's hard to give him any credit.
If he does that, then he just becomes Andy Dalton, a guy who can get to the playoffs and not win.
Yeah. Well, who knows? What if, the Bears turn this around and, they were the phony 5-1 team. What if they become the Super Bowl champs?
There's time to do it. With 3 weeks left of football, there's still time to turn it around.
It's so incredible that the Bears aren't down and out right now. They definitely should be. They are technically not technically. They are in my mind. But I can't count them out, mathematically yet. It's not possible right now.
I'll continue sleeping on the Bears for a couple weeks.
Yeah, let's keep doing it. Next, we got the Cowboys, 30, dropping that 30 burger on the lowly Bengals. I really wanted the Cowboys to lose. I'm not gonna lie. We would have had the third overall pick, especially with more losses more wins from teams that suck around the league. Would have kept us at the third overall pick. Captain Trade Down would have been riding strong. This is the Red Rifle revenge. He came back. They benched him on his birthday. And now he makes them cry forever. Any takeaways, Dallas?
A dirty 30 when you didn't need it. Someone should have whispered into Andy's ear before the game and said, Dalton, we need the third pick. Dak's coming back.
Yeah.
You're not going to have this job next year.
Mm-hmm.
Just take one.
I'm happy for Dalton. He deserved this game. I believe it was CBS who broadcast this game. They need to quit showing the quarterback's girlfriend. Like, every single, other play.
It's a weird flex.
Isn't it weird?
It's a weird
flex. I think
flex.
her name's Jordan Dalton. They kept showing Mrs. Dalton every other play. And, Andy Dalton did a couple times the sign language sign for I love you to her.
Nice.
And then they showed her doing it back. And I'm like, what is this? This is football, guys. Come on.
You said girlfriend.
Maybe wife.
Okay, that's an important thing to note with the same last name.
Life partner, whatever they are.
Just wanted to make sure there wasn't blood reason for the same last name.
Andy Dalton is in an unconfirmed incestual relationship. We cannot confirm or deny. We haven't done research yet, but Andy Dalton might be in a relationship with his sister.
If we get the means for a research person on the side, maybe we can verify that on a future episode. But for now, it's in the air.
Yeah. Until then, I'm going to assume Andy Dalton is dating his sister. Let's go next to the Colts over the Raiders, 44-27. Colts dropped a 40 burger. What?
40 bomb. Colts are good.
Yeah, the Colts are really good. It's weird because obviously their daddies, the Titans, will continue to be their daddies. I think so until the end of this year.
Yep.
At least.
We are Phillip Rivers' kryptonite.
It's true. Phillip cannot get past y'all. The Raiders might be done. This game was crucial for them after barely squeaking out a win against the Jets and losing in epic fashion to the Falcons, who took an L this week to the Chargers. Excuse me, I'm choking. But the Raiders are pretty much done at this point. They need a lot of miracles, a lot of losses, and a lot of wins for them to be able to get back into this playoff bracket.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason you started to choke, and that's because you're talking about the Raiders.
Yeah.
When you look at the schedule for the Raiders, and if you almost lose to the Jets, no matter who you play next week, you cannot lose.
Yeah.
No matter when it is, and especially when the Jets are however many games they've lost. I don't know.
14? I believe they're 0-13 now.
0-13. You can't nearly lose that game, turn around, and then let any other team beat you or drop a 40 bomb.
And the only reason they lost is because the GM of the Jets called down and told them to tank, or what's his name? Defensive coordinator just got fired for the Jets.
Yeah. The other coach potato.
Greg Williams.
Greedy.
Greedy
Greg.
Greedy Greg. He had to do a zero cover blitz. And that's the only reason they won. And it's because the owner or GM of the Jets called down and was like, hey, do this or you're not getting a severance check or whatever.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's awful. I can't believe the Raiders have done this again. They did it last season. We thought they were okay. Thought they were pretty good. Even going to sneak into a wild card. They even beat the Chiefs this year. How do you beat the Chiefs and then turn around like this? It's just there's something wrong with the Raiders, and someone has to get to the bottom of it there before it gets too late for them.
Yeah, and not to spoil anything, but maybe John Gruden isn't the guy for that.
Ooh, well, let's save that for our legit versus shit segment where we're going to talk about coaches today. But first, let's go to Jets and Seahawks. This is brutal. 40 points over the Jets 3. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Why'd you guys have to do it to them?
You didn't have to, Russ.
Jamal Adams, come on. I know you probably made Sam Darnold your little sweet baby, your little bitch baby. You didn't have to do this to them. The Seahawks did not have to abuse them. I think my biggest takeaway from this one is that Russ raises his MVP stocks. I think that he's low on stock right now for MVP, but he raises it at least. And the Jets, keep the faith, Jets. There's no way that they don't do a full rebuild after this season. You'll get Trevor Lawrence next year. Trevor Lawrence might be, the next Andrew Luck, that first overall pick that's just going to turn around a franchise and at least keep them 9-7 for several years. Any takeaways from this one?
Wrapped up what you said nicely to whatever Jets fans are left. You know what this season is at this point. Trevor Lawrence. Get Trevor Lawrence. I think he's that guy. I think he's Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I definitely hope so for their sake. I have a little thing I want to talk about the Jets later, but we'll keep that for the conspiracy corner.
Yeah.
I got an interesting one for us today, but let's go next to the Packers 31 over the Lions 24. Rodgers is still my MVP candidate.
Yeah, nasty man in the NFL for a long time, sat behind one of the best, and now is the best. He might be playing out of his mind this year. He might even be better than Mahomes this year. Just going off of this year, Mahomes was kind of the second coming of Rodgers, if you will. And it seems like Rodgers is like, no, I'm still here. I'm still the king. You're still the prince. Still has time on his clock.
Yeah, and Lions, once again, please trade Matt Stafford. Do not let him rot anymore. You've rebuilt around him 3 times. You can't do it a 4th time. Trade him. Falcons 17 to the Chargers 20. The Chargers finally won a close game with the field goal.
Wow. The curse is lifted.
The curse is lifted for now until Anthony Lynn is fired. Wow, oh wow. I watched just the end of this game. I was flipping between, I believe, the Saints and Eagles and then this game. And I flipped to the right at the end, and it was Justin Herbert did it. I think there was a couple of crazy interceptions that were able to set this up. I'm just surprised. The Falcons, true to themselves, lost the lead. Chargers, sneaky little team that not many people talk about. They've also been known to lose leads. This was just a battle of teams that suck in the fourth quarter. So the Chargers were able to pull one off. Any other takeaways from this one?
Justin Herbert might be the perfect guy to come in and become the better Phillip Rivers. Mm-hmm. I mean, they dropped Phillip at the perfect time with the perfect disciple who is quietly breaking records this year.
Yeah.
And I don't see him stopping, God forbid any injury. Mm-hmm. But he might go down as a better quarterback than Burrow, and I can't wait until he's healthy to see that competition start again.
I know. It'll be really incredible. Hopefully Burrow's injury doesn't keep him down and out forever. I'll definitely be looking forward to what both of those quarterbacks have in the future. Washington, 23 over the 49ers, 15. Any first takeaways from this one?
Washington defense, shout out. Exactly. Y'all are good. It is insane how good they have been this late in football.
Yeah, and I'm definitely higher on Washington now than I was about a week ago now. I think they're going to take this division. I don't think the Giants are going to do it anymore. That's basically most of my takeaway. Anything else you want to mention on this one?
We have to see who the tallest kid is at the kids' table. Is it the Giants? Is it Washington? Whoever it is going to get murdered in the playoffs.
And may I remind you, the Cowboys are not out of the playoff picture yet.
Hopefully they are for you.
I know.
I don't want to see them get murdered in the playoffs.
I've already watched them be murdered several times.
But it could be Washington.
I think it's probably going to be Washington. And Alex Smith did have a little bit of a calf injury during this game. You hate to see it, especially with Smith being Frankie leg at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it was just calf tightness, is what Ron Rivera said. Smith is okay. I think he'll probably start next week. If not, he said Dwayne Haskins is ready. But I think it's just a cramp that was keeping him out of the game, and they were just being careful.
Dog bless.
Dog bless you. Let's go to the Saints scoring 21 to the Eagles 24. How did Hurts do this? Tell me your takeaways, Dallas.
Did replacing Carson Wentz fix the Eagles?
I don't know. I think that the way that they played Hurts, they played him the similar way that they play Taysom Hill, kind of running a lot, not scoring a lot of points because you're going to try to hope that your defense is going to keep you above. The defense looked better. Miles Sanders looked better. I think Hurts had over 100 rushing yards. I don't think he's surpassed 200 passing yards though. So I think we got to give it time. I don't know if Hurts is the future for the Eagles. I think that he's definitely the present. I think that he'll finish out the season. I don't think the Eagles will even get back in contention this season. But I don't know. I'm not sure if he'll stay at this peak that he is right now.
Well, for the present, he is more fun to watch than Wentz.
Yeah, Wentz is just terrible. He's awful.
He's a lot of money you have tied up on the bench now.
Yeah, you have a lot of money on the bench that, could go to the Colts or somewhere else where, Patriots or...
It's got to burn somewhere.
As long as it goes to the AFC, I'm okay.
Well, bring them on. Bring them on to the AFC.
You want him? You want him?
I'm
okay.
fine with them.
I'm not sure on Wentz. I'm cautious because MVP almost a few years ago, and now probably the worst quarterback that we've seen.
If we can shut down Phillip Rivers, we can shut down Carson Wentz.
Fair enough. Well, I think that's going to be all for the first half of this episode. Don't go anywhere. We're going to empty our bladders and come right back.
Promise.
We are back from the break. Bladders are emptied. Thoughts are gathered once again. Quick update from the Ravens and Browns game. 7-7's tied. Baker Mayfield scrambling right now. Uh-oh. Bam. Baker Mayfield slammed out of bounds. Looks like they are in Baltimore territory. I'll give you guys updates as we go along. But let's go to our Fast 5 Week 15. Do you want to start us off, Dallas?
Sure. One of my favorite games to watch, one older than the modern NFL, Bears and Vikings. Both 6 and 7 teams. It's going to be up in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Both vying for a wild card position in the NFC North.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears just to me seem like the more consistent team. I don't know what's happening in Minnesota.
Wow, really? So are you kind of favoring the Bears this one?
I've got Bears 23-17.
Wow, I have Vikings 27-24. That's interesting.
Okay.
I'm high on Dalvin Cook for sure. I think Dalvin Cook's going to keep them in this ball game.
He's the one cog that spins there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dalvin Cook will stay the same way he has been the last few weeks. He looked incredible against the Buccaneers. And I think Kirk Cousins will do manageable. I think that the Bears have a good secondary and some good pieces on the front seven, but I'm not certain that the Bears really have what it takes offensively anyway. Mitchell Trubisky had a good game last week against the Texans defense that hasn't looked good. But the Vikings defense has looked a little better, in my opinion. I think we'll have to see. I think it's going to come down to will Kirk Cousins kind of perform. But any other thoughts on this one?
Well, Kirk hasn't gotten it done these last few weeks, especially on third down.
Yeah.
I think we'll see the same Kirk just gazing into a secondary that's better than people give it credit and getting sacked. I don't see him getting many touchdowns, if one, maybe two, and a field goal.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe that Justin Jefferson, my Rookie of the Year, will be able to put this one in the books as a win for them. I think that they have so many capabilities around Kirk Cousins. I feel like this week the Bears, who are definitely a team who stink much more than the Buccaneers did last week, I think it's going to take a little bit less for the Vikings to win this one.
Yeah, Jefferson is as gold as the number he wears just...
Yeah.
He's been a bright spot all year.
Absolutely. Hopefully they're able to pull this one through. Really looking forward to it. One other thing I wanted to mention is Irv Smith on the tape I was watching looks really good. That's their tight end over Kyle Rudolph.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was hurt for a couple of weeks, and he looks really good. He might be a little bit of a sneaky star for them. Just wanted to give him a quick shout-out. Any other thoughts you want to give on this game?
I'm going to watch him because that's someone who slipped under my radar this week. So
he wears the 84, the Randy Moss number.
Old 84.
Can't believe they haven't retired that one, by the way.
Wow, yeah.
Let's go next to Seahawks at Washington. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, this is two good teams. One that has a record to show it. The other, unfortunately, close games. Falls to 6-7. Seahawks 9-4. Russ started strong. Wanted MVP. This game kind of showed it, like you said. He wants to return to that form. That Washington defense is good, though.
It's so good. I think it might be given more spotlight right now than the Steelers' defense if it wasn't for their awful offense. I think their offense is, right now, at the moment, looks worse than the Steelers. It might not be statistically worse, but it definitely looks worse in the public eye.
I think the Washington defense falls apart at some point during this game and lets the Ravens score a lot. And
the Seahawks.
Quick. Seahawks, sorry. Wrong bird. Let the Seahawks score quick. I think this one gets a little out of hand at 31-23.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think you might be a little surprised with my take on this one. I think the Washington defense holds stout. I think that they stick around. I think that especially teams against like the Bills and other teams that Russ has struggled against. I think I'm going to go 20 for the Seahawks to the 23 for the football team.
Washington cleans up their act towards the end of the season.
And this is part of the reason why I think that they're going to win this division. I think Ron Rivera battling his cancer battle, Alex Smith bouncing back, and Dwayne Haskins coming from a third string overall quarterback, maybe even starting this next week. I think that they're fighters. I think that they're warriors. I hate that it's my division that they have to be in, but I super, super love that they're able to pull it together. I think that they will. I think they definitely are going to beat the Seahawks by a very close margin, though. Very close. I think Russ might throw a good number of picks this game, and that makes the difference.
Well, I'm going to make sure to watch this game now.
Yeah, I think we definitely should. Let's go next to the Dolphins at the Patriots. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, there's a theme with my first three, and that is another team that's 6-7 that's going to lose. The Patriots 6-7 for the first time in a long time. Dolphins 8-5 for the first time in a long time.
So you're saying with this game, the Patriots won't have a winning record?
The Patriots are going to fall to a losing record. Close. 24-21. Tua cleans it up, gets a couple touchdowns, and the Patriots just continue to tumble. Cam looks bad. The defense doesn't want to hold out for that quarterback. And for another consistent year, there is no clear wide receiver one on the Patriots roster.
Yeah, I got the Dolphins taking this one home, 31-20.
Wow.
I don't think that the Patriots offense is capable of putting much over 20 points on the board up. I think their special teams have to show up if they want them to, or their defense has to score. That's what happened in that 45-0 game against the Chargers. I don't think it'll ever happen again for them this year. Anything like that where they score that much, so I just can't see them being able to put up those kind of numbers. Yeah, 31-20 is my final. What do you have on them?
24-21. That should be, either way, a good game. I think we're both close.
Yeah.
New England has proven they can do it with that 45-0 win that feels like years ago.
Yeah, it totally feels like they've done a complete 180. This is not the team that we saw against the Chargers in the last couple weeks, or in the last week that we saw them. So we'll have to see what this game is. It's a divisional game, like I said earlier. We have to be cautiously watching this one and not make any quick decisions on this one. Don't let this game change our opinions about either of these teams, because it's a divisional game. Divisional games are always crazy.
Yeah.
My probably game of the week. I don't know if it's your game of the week. Chiefs at Saints. These are my two Super Bowl teams facing off. I want to hear your take first because I think I might have an interesting take too.
Well, it's interesting to me that you say it's your Super Bowl teams because the Chiefs are mine, but the Saints I just can't see making it. Taysom Hill being part of that reason. Chiefs 12-1, Saints 10-3. Mahomes had a bad game last week and their team still wins. I don't think that's true for Taysom Hill. It's hard to get a win when you go into the Superdome, but the Chiefs, I think, do it and do it well with a 45-27 win.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm similar to you. I'm high on the Chiefs this game, but not nearly as high. I got the Chiefs scoring 28-24 over the Saints. And I still hold true that I believe the Saints will win the Super Bowl over the Chiefs. I think Drew Brees will come back for the playoffs. I can't see Taysom Hill scoring, though, over 24 points unless there's a special team score. Who knows? Maybe Mahomes throws a couple picks this game. He threw 3 last week. It's not impossible. Going against another stout defense like the Saints, it's definitely possible that they come across with one score or so. We'll have to see what ends up happening with this one. I think the Chiefs could go over 30, maybe 31-24, but I'm going to stick with 28-24 for the final score in this game.
With Mahomes having a bad game last week, we get to see something we haven't yet. And that's going to be Mahomes' revenge game. Mm-hmm. He wants to wipe away those 3 interceptions as quickly as he can.
Maybe that puts him in danger, though, and he makes some dangerous throws to try to prove himself.
I don't see him doing that in a stadium like that on a game this caliber. He needs a big stage to play well on after a game like that, and I think it lines up perfectly.
Wow. Yeah. I'm definitely interested to see where this one goes. I don't think it'll be a blowout either way. I think these two teams are stout. These two are my Super Bowl picks, so I'm going to stay firm on them that they're going to be close. I think the Chiefs pull out this one, but towards the end of the season, I think they burn out, and eventually the Saints overtake them. Any other thoughts you had?
Another must-watch game like the other 4. That's why they are the Fast 5.
Yeah, and much to Dallas's chagrin, once again, we have to talk about the Browns facing off against the Giants. What are your thoughts on this one?
As much as it hurts to say, the Browns are genuine at this point. A lot can go wrong in a season. The Giants show that. Losing their star running back and just all the adversity that is the 2020 season and year. Mm-hmm. But the Browns have adapted well. They have a quarterback that's playing well. It seems the offensive scheme clicks for every position. Mm-hmm. And that roster is loaded.
Yeah.
27-6. The Giants have just had too much. I like the Giants. I do. We've talked high on them the last 2 weeks.
Well,
but this Browns team sees the division lead in their grasp.
Much similar to you. I've got 31-10. Browns take it. I don't feel super confident in saying that just because the Giants have been sneaky scorers at times. But I just don't think that Daniel Jones is the key to this. I think that Baker Mayfield will play a better game, even if Dallas doesn't want him to.
I don't.
I think that the Browns take this one home. Just quick summary of our scores. I had the Vikings, the football team, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Browns. Dallas had the Bears. He had the Seahawks. He had the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and also the Browns. So I think we had a couple disagreements, a couple of scoring disagreements for sure. But we'll see what happens next week. I'm interested to see what our record is after this week.
Yeah.
So let's go into legit versus shit coaching edition. Who is on the hot seat this year? Who is going to stay? And let's just start it all off with Mike McCarthy. Dallas, take the floor.
Well, let's get the elephant out of the room. We disagree on this pretty consistently at this point. 2 weeks running, now 3. I think he's out. I think Mike McCarthy, get him out of there. You have a young, good team. And either get his quarterback in there and let Dak go, or get McCarthy out of there.
Whew. Yeah, I can't help but feel like there's a whole lot of question marks around Mike McCarthy. I'll touch on that more later. But I put legit next to him with the TBD. I'm not certain on Mike McCarthy. His self-proclaimed Mike McCarthy project that he created, basically his resume in video form. I'm still not low on him. I've not minded the offensive play calling. At times, it's been a little questionable, especially against the Seahawks this year. Them passing many behind the line of scrimmage passes, which I hated because the Seahawks blew up every single one, and they continued to do it, which was frustrating. But besides that game specifically, I haven't seen a whole lot of things that frustrated me that much. Maybe the special teams play calling. But I think there's time to hone those up, make those better. I think with a full off season, I think that Mike McCarthy can still do it, but I'm going to leave it TBD because I'm not sure yet. Let's go right next to the coach I'm very high on in this division, Ron Rivera. Go ahead and take the floor.
I agree with you. He is the safest coach in that division from not only his scheme, but the battle he overcame at the beginning of his career here. I think Ron Rivera is going to stay the head coach for Washington for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm going very legit on him.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go next to Joe Judge. That's another one that I put legit next to, but TBD. I haven't seen enough about him. His defense looks good. But we'll just kind of have to see. What are your thoughts on Joe?
I think it's a short shelf life, like you're saying. Joe got dealt a bad hand this year. Maybe Daniel Jones isn't the guy. Who knows? But give him a couple years to find out. I don't think he's the problem.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that Joe Judge is. He seems to be a creative coach, able to put together some interesting schemes. We'll have to give it some time to kind of see where Joe Judge takes it. So far, he has been able to put together a great defense and a solid run game with a lot of good around him. Let's go next to Doug Peterson. I'll go ahead and start this one off. Doug has not shown himself to be the greatest in the last few years, with continuing to call the same sort of play calls with Carson Wentz at the helm, not trying to coach him up and fix some of the mechanics that I've seen issues with. I'm shit on Doug Peterson. I don't think he's a terrible coach. I think he's a much better offensive coordinator, though.
I agree with you completely, but Super Bowls expand how long you're going to be with a team.
I agree.
I think Doug Peterson will stay there for a couple years post Carson Wentz because that is the Eagles right now.
Yeah, I think that the Eagles they have more time with Doug Peterson, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it, even if Howie Roseman and the rest of the Eagles ownership won't call it. I think Doug Peterson should. I don't think he's worth their while. I think he's an offensive coordinator at heart. I don't think he has what it takes to conduct an entire team. I think he did it once. I think he had one really good season that I will never downplay. They had a really great season where they were able to make the Super Bowl with a backup, which is just, it's crazy, you know? That doesn't ever happen. They turned Carson Wentz into an MVP, but now they have failed all of their quarterbacks. They will continue to, I believe, in the future. I think that they probably continue to be a 9-7, 7-9, 8-8 team.
Yeah.
In the near future. Let's go next to Dallas's ex-offensive coordinator, Matt LaFleur, coach of the Green Bay Packers. I got him legit.
Yeah, I mean, he's He's legit, if only by inheriting a great offense and being an offensive mind himself. It's a puzzle piece that fits well. Mm-hmm. It was a quick romance we had in Tennessee, but it burned bright. He did well with what he had here, and I think he's legit for a while.
Absolutely. You guys had a great one-night stand with Matt LaFleur. But now it's time to move on to Mike Zimmer.
Oh.
Who...
Sorry.
Yeah, no worry. Bless you, I should say.
No.
The Mike Zimmer, I have him as shit right now.
Wow. A disagreement.
Wow, okay. So, rough offense. Not able to punch it in. Dan Bailey is a terrible kicker. I don't know how you guys brought him back in. I think there's some personnel questions, especially with Mike Zimmer wanting to keep players around and stuff along those lines. Defense has been very B. It's not a great defense. It's not an A defense by any means. It's a B-rated defense for sure. And Mike Zimmer's a defensive mind, you know. He shouldn't have a better defense when he's at the helm. What do you got on him?
I think for Zimmer, he's shown consistently in a hard division how well he can adapt to new offenses defensively. But for me, the offensive struggles are and always have been on Kirk Cousins. I've never been high on Cousins. I think he holds the ball too long. I think he's your sloppy impression of Ryan Fitzpatrick, of Phillip Rivers, sort of those cannon arm guys.
Wow, that's I don't know. I'm not that low on Kirk Cousins. I've seen him come to Dallas a few times and show up where he really shouldn't have. People were down on him, calling him primetime Kirk Cousins, which was not very prime. But he was able to show up against Dallas a few times, and it scares me. I don't know what you expect out of Kirk Cousins. I know that he has his mistakes, has his flaws, overpaid quarterback for sure. But I'm gonna put the most of the blame on Mike Zimmer for this one.
Well, we'll see what happens when one or the other is out of the picture.
Yeah. Well, let's go next to the Bears coach Matt Nagy. I'm gonna go just shit on him. I don't have much to say. Offensive mind with a bad offense. I don't like it. Keep it out of my face. I don't want to see it ever again. It's gross. It's icky. Matt Nagy should be gone.
He held on to a quarterback for too long that didn't work out, and now we're here, and that's a lot of his fault.
Yeah, I think that he's an Andy Reid disciple, and like most Andy Reid disciples, including Doug Peterson, I just don't think that he's going to be able to pull it through.
Yeah, get him.
I think that you need Andy's genius to be able to be a great coach. You know, if you're going to be one of his disciples, you need to stick with him.
Yeah, get out of here, Matt.
Exactly. Let's go Sean McVay. Quick, legit.
Safe. Yeah, legit.
Yeah. Great run, great pass, good defense. What else can you ask from a coach?
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan, quick, legit for me as well. Any thought? Cool. Quick, legit for both. Pete Carroll, quick, legit.
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury, not quick, legit. I would say legit TBD. I need to see some things ironed out on the air raid offense. Definitely want to see less chunk plays where they're just throwing up the ball, and more plays where it's a little bit of more of a designed run pass where Kyler Murray can just make those throws because he has the athleticism just to throw it up. But I want to see those easy passes being completed every single time.
Yeah, shout out to Cliff because it's one of my favorite offenses to watch in the NFL right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's high flying, and I hope it stays that way. Sean Payton,
legit.
Matt Rule.
I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You started first.
I think he's safe. I think he's safe for a while. I don't know if Teddy's the guy, but I like the offense he has there.
Yeah, I'm with the same as you. I thought P.J. Walker could be at the helm one day. I would like to see that a lot. I think P.J. Walker has a really interesting story.
He's athletic, too.
Yeah, which is really important in modern NFL. He can pass and he's athletic, which is a rare combination right now. And it's very important. You want to see that happen more often if you're going to be a new age starting quarterback. I got him legit. I put a TBD next to him just in case. This is his first season.
Yeah.
So I want to see him do more. I will mention...
Give him time.
First season coaches like McCarthy, They're not having great seasons, you know?
No.
There's none of them that have just come out on the scene that have been great this year. So maybe we give all of them more time, you know, Dallas?
Yeah.
Well, let's go next to Bruce Arians. Go ahead. Go ahead and tell me what you got on him.
This is one where I need your help. He's down there in Tampa Bay. He's a quarterback guru with the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Why isn't it perfect?
Well, maybe it's because Bruce Arians is shit.
Is Bruce Arians shit?
I got Bruce Arians shit.
You need him out of there?
I also got Brady not very good either. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's a combination of the two. I'm not high on either of these guys. I think that they need to start shipping some of Bruce Arians. He has the largest the largest coaching staff of any team in the NFL. It's too many heads in the kitchen. It's just time to either start shipping those people off or ship off the guy at the helm. I think that he doesn't understand that just because you want to run the scheme, your players aren't necessarily going to have the skill set for that. I think that Tom Brady has never been a deep thrower unless it was with Randy Moss. That's the only time we've ever seen him do that, unless he was like 21.
Yeah. Long hair Brady.
Even then, it wasn't like, the shorter his hair has gotten, the shorter his passes have gotten too.
Yeah.
So I think Bruce Arians either has to adapt his scheme to Brady. This is a team that's loaded. Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, Chris Godwin. You have Leonard Fournette. You have Ronald Jones, Mike Evans. It's Rob Gronkowski,
Yeah.
O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
Okay offensive line, and then Tom Brady at the helm. You should be able to figure this out. You should be able to figure out that not every play is going to be a chunk play. It should just be that he needs to hone the skills that his players are good at.
It's close to a super team, yet someone has to go.
Someone has to. I think I'd be sad if Brady had to go. I'd really love to see him succeed outside of New England. And honestly, I don't have any attachment to Arians, so I wouldn't be mad if he went. I think he's probably ready for retirement. With a big of a coaching staff as he has, it's probably likely that he just doesn't want to do it anymore. You know?
Yeah. I think people above both of those men need to decide who they want staying there.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the AFC East with Bill Belichick. I got a quick legit on him. I don't have much to say about him. Greatest defensive-minded coach of all time. Might be the greatest special teams coach of all time. Offense has stuff to be desired this year for sure. But also when he gets personnel like, this terrible wide receiver core, he is the GM. But give him another year, and I think he'll probably turn this ship around.
For me, Bill has an X next to his legacy this year. It's the first time in a long time they're going to have a losing record. I think it exposes some of the talent, whether it be the football IQ or plays Tom Brady had.
I mean, they could still go 9-7. It's possible.
I just don't see that happening for Bill.
I don't see it happening either. I think this is a down year for him.
And that's the only reason I have shit for him, is because it's to his standards.
Yeah. Well, let's go to our next quick shit. Adam Gase.
100 X's. Get him out of here.
Get him out. Never let him back in the city of New York.
Garbage human being.
In the state of New York. We might want to consider deporting him to another country. It doesn't have to be a bad country.
Bad coach.
We could send him to, like, Luxembourg.
Bad father.
He's probably a terrible father.
With an offense like that, I wouldn't respect my father.
I'm sure his son calls him a bitch.
Deport him, decapitate him, whatever you have to do, just get him out of New York.
If it starts with DE, just do whatever verb you want to put in there. Deport, decapitate, disenfranchise. It doesn't start with a DE, but it sounds cool.
Deflate,
yeah, we can deflate him.
But that's enough shitting on Adam Gase, the horrible head coach.
Sean McDermott is next. I'm good with him. I'm legit with Sean McDermott.
Bills are great, yes.
The Bills are great. The first time they've been in a long time. They were good when Sean McDermott had Tyrod Taylor. They were decent. They made the playoffs with Tyrod Taylor. who has not been able to do that with any other team. So
Yeah.
I'm high on the Bills. I think that they've put together a good offense. Definitely have developed Josh Allen well, and I'm happy for them. Next, I got Brian Flores. Quick legit for me. I put 3 check marks next to him.
It's dangerous when you give a coach so many first-round picks, but it seems like they did well. Legit for me, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Tomlin. I got a quick legit on this one.
Legit.
Cool. Kevin Stefanski. I got a quick legit on this one.
The best head coach the Browns have had for a while, legit.
Yeah. Actually, he's a first-year head coach. I remember that now. Yeah. He's the only first-year head coach to be so successful.
Good for Kevin. Good for the Browns, as much as I hate them.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy that Browns fans don't have to deal with another losing season. They're officially not in a losing season. Speaking of the Browns, let's give a quick score update if y'all will be patient with me for just a second.
I do know the Ravens have scored another touchdown. I believe a rushing touchdown from Gus Edwards.
Wow. Yeah, so it's 14-7 in the second quarter. Baltimore is up. Close game. Hopefully it stays that way. I'd like to see these close games, close shootouts.
Yeah. But Harbaugh.
Yeah, let's go to Harbaugh. On the other side of the ball tonight, I got a TBD next to his name. I've got a legit with a TBD. My biggest takeaway is that the play calling with Lamar Jackson has had some things left to be desired. As my phone dies on camera or on microphone, whatever you want to call it. So I will no longer be checking the score. This has now been pushed to Dallas's quarter.
Tragic. Well, I have the score pushed up. That Ravens touchdown did just happen, so they are kicking off 14-7.
Awesome. Yeah, but John Harbaugh, I think the biggest problem with Lamar Jackson this year has been play calling has been uncreative. I think that's not his fault because he's not the play caller. But he has to keep his play caller in check, being the head coach.
Should I parrot what you said or just move on to the next head coach? Because I agree completely. He's
Okay.
a question mark for me.
Yeah, I've got him legit right now, though.
I've got him legit based on Super Bowl performances and past performances altogether. But you're right. This year, do something different offensively. It's not working.
Yeah. Who's next?
We've got Zach Taylor in Cincinnati.
Quick shit for me.
I've got him legit.
Really?
I do. I just like what he had cooking for Joe Burrow. I think he's a good guy for Joe Burrow. I don't want to see what happened to Marcus Mariota happen to Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And that's a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, just year in, year out. Give that guy some consistency.
I don't want to either. That's why they should probably hire the Titans offensive coordinator, whose name is slipping my mind.
Arthur... God, I forget his last name. I guess teams won't be able to look it up.
Man, that stinks. Or Eric the Enemy, to save Dallas from having to finish that thought. I think that they deserve a smart, offensive-minded coach. I think Zach Taylor isn't a good offensive coordinator, probably. But he's pushed out several veterans, trying to push away A.J. Green, trying to push away other people who are really been substantial to this franchise. And I don't know why they fired Marvin Lewis before. I think that he was good enough to get them to the playoffs, and now they're not even good enough to make the playoffs.
Looks like a phenomenal catch just happened. Hopefully I get a chance to show you that. My apologies, keeping up with the score.
Oh, wow.
I just think with Zach Taylor, don't get him out of the door this offseason. As much as I hate it, it's a cutthroat league. AJ Green is consistently showing up hurt at this point. And yes, he is a giant on that team. But so was Jarrell Casey for the Titans. And there's a lot of money tied up with AJ, just like Jarrell Casey. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily regret losing that giant on our team.
Yeah. Excuse me. I think we'll have to see for sure. But I'm going to give him a quick shit. I don't have any more to say about Zach Taylor.
All right.
Well, who's next, Dallas?
Andy Reid, the old cheeseburger king.
Quick legit.
Legit.
If you got anything else to say about him, then you've not watched football in the last few years.
You have dumb football takes.
You have Dumbo brain. It's we can't cure it. You have Dumbo brain. That is all. Let's go, John Gruden.
City of Sins.
Oh, in Las Vegas, Sin City itself. I think they've committed one more sin that it could be a sin.
That's exactly right. I think get Gruden out of here.
I agree. I'm done with them. I think it's TBD. Every year they've been like really good at the first half, and then they turn around the second half and they stare at the teams like the Jets and the Browns. Well, not the Browns anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
The Jets and the Jaguars and the Cowboys right now, and they lose. You know, you can't lose to teams like that. You can't almost lose to teams like that. You have to be able to pull off blowouts for those games. You can't lose to the Falcons. I think that it's, John Gruden at one point was a great mind for coaching. Maybe he's not meant to be a head coach. I don't know. They're at I think it's a 10-year contract for $100 million, so they're stuck with him.
Didn't know that.
Yep, it's a lot of money. It might be, man, it might be $100 million over. Did I say $100 million?
You
over
said
10?
$100 million.
Yeah. I think it's definitely $100 million over 10 years, which is a lot of money for a coach that hasn't made the playoffs yet.
Mayfield just got laid out.
They've been hitting him all night.
Yeah, 5 minutes left in the second, and it doesn't seem like they're going to let off on him.
Poor Baker Mayfield, quarterback of the Browns. Let's go next to Vic Fangio, coach of the Broncos. I got shit on him.
I've got shit on him.
He's got shit all over his face. Someone get him some baby wipes, because this man does not know how to coach an offense. This man has had good defenses. I think this man's probably a defensive coordinator. But when you hire Pat Shurmur, the milquetoast former coach of the Giants, awful coach, awful. How does this even work? I don't understand.
Look at the Broncos of 2015 at the cusp of Super Bowl victory and how quickly they've fallen apart. Things need to change there, and I doubt it's John Elway.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be John Elway. Who knows? I don't know. I'm done with Vic Fangio. I think they need to move on, find an offensive mind, maybe take Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs and figure out something they can do with them. I don't know. Not every Andy Reid disciple has panned out for sure, but maybe he can lead them to at least one Super Bowl. I definitely did in Doug Peterson's case, and maybe they'll suck after that, but at least they get another bowl on the board. Let's go next to another AFC West team coach, Anthony Lynn. Quick shit for me.
I've got him legit. I think he's a strong character in that locker room. I think moving Phillip Rivers was a good idea.
I agree.
I just don't think it's time to move on from him yet.
I don't know. I feel like with things like this, especially with a young quarterback, you want to do it sooner than later. Especially with Mariota, they switched offensive coordinators several times. I think some of them were hired, obviously, but it sucks to see a quarterback get wasted right now, and I think that they are wasting away. I think they need to spend big money on a big-name head coach who is able to take Justin Herbert to the promised land, because Justin Herbert is certainly capable. We'll give it time for the rest of the season. I'm gonna give him time, but
For now, shit.
They made to I think they got to the AFC Championship a couple years ago. The Chargers did.
I believe that's right.
So with Anthony Lynn too, but I can't do it. I can't keep Anthony Lynn, who's been too milquetoast, too bad. I read a story the day before that they were kicked out of the playoffs. Anthony Lynn basically told the team that they were out of the playoffs. So I feel like you have to be hungry no matter what if you're a head coach, and I don't like to see that. I'm gonna go quickly shit on him. That's all I have to say.
That is news to me. I might have to do some Lynn research. With just over 4 minutes left in the second quarter, the Browns have tied this up with a Nick Chubb touchdown.
Wow, yeah. It's not surprising to see Chubb continue to be the running back that he is. I think he's 5th place overall in rushing this year, and he missed all those games.
Yeah, he's 14-14 score, and Nick Chubb is back and a part of that.
That's incredible. Let's go next to our hometown hero, Mike Vrabel.
He cut his dick off for a Super Bowl, and I think at this point, Nashville should let him.
Yeah.
If he's willing to do that for me, for all of us, do it.
Okay. I didn't have that take, but that's interesting. I got quick legit for him. Only thing that leaves me back as a hire defensive coordinator. It's
Please.
too much. It's too much work. Offensive coordinator plus head coach kind of makes sense, but I feel like the defense, you kind of have to call on the fly kind of thing. And I don't think it's worth Mike Vrabel keeping this his defensive coordinator position. I think it's just kind of a little bit of him thinking that he can do it all, trying to play hero. And I don't think he needs to do that. He's a good coach, and he's a smart coach, especially on special teams and stuff like that. But I got him legit.
We've had a lot of Mikes. Some shit.
Yeah.
Some legit. Mike Vrabel, legit for me too. But for God's sake, listen to Jeff. No matter how big your head is and you are egotistical, you can't wear more than one hat. Yours is head coach. Mm-hmm. Keep up the good work and hire a defensive coordinator, my guy.
Whew. Speaking of hire a defensive coordinator, how about you hire a coaching staff at Jacksonville? Doug Marrone, you suck.
Shit. Absolute trash.
News to me I found out the other day, Doug Marrone is an offensive-minded coach who's had a terrible offense like every year.
Yeah. Negative win to loss, negative personality, trash.
They do have the youngest team in the NFL, but you don't get an excuse for that. You've been terrible. The only time you've done anything is when you made it to the AFC Championship, and you didn't do anything there because you got stunk out by the Patriots. It's quick shit for me. I don't have anything else to say about them.
Shit.
Cool. Let's go to Frank Reich, which might be hard for Dallas to talk about. I got legit.
He's legit. I know him well. A good offense, a good defense, just a well-rounded, good drafting team that they have. I'm not sure who's in charge of scouting there, but Frank seems to lead everyone right. Quick legit.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for these coaches. Just Frank Reich is legit. Good defense, good offense. What else can you ask for?
No.
All right. Well, that sums up legit versus shit. What's our next topic, Dallas?
This is the fun part, at least I think our most favorite part of our podcast, and that's the conspiracy corner. Anyone can put tinfoil on. We encourage you to as well. I think I'm just going to get started, if that's all right with you.
Go right ahead.
That right now at this moment, something has started, and that's a Steelers rebuild.
Wow.
They've lost 2 games in a row. I don't know if that changes. They could easily lose 3 more games in a row. And then you're going into the offseason with so much wind. Hell, you don't even have sales anymore.
Wow.
You've got an old, porn-addicted, once before Ben Roethlisberger with a bad arm. You've got James Conner, who can't seem to stay on the field, and a confused offensive line that's giving up sacks and not giving up holes for Conner.
I won't disagree. This is their make it or break it year. I don't think they have another shot after this year.
And because of that, the Browns have a chance to win that division. The Browns are doing the opposite of that.
Wow, I like that a lot. I think that the Browns definitely do. They're definitely still at 9-3. They still can come back against the 11-2 Steelers. Rebuild is a lot though.
I know it's a heavy word, and some teams don't even say it, Seahawks, but
the Seahawks have been in perpetual rebuild for like all of their existence, except for the years they went to the Super Bowl.
But has Pete Carroll said it?
No.
So with the Steelers, I think Tomlin understands how good of a team he has and how fast some older players could decay on that roster. And the rebuild is stressed because key figures have to go. Conner, Roethlisberger. Beef up that defense a little more to help with what'll be a brand new offense next year. Maybe Jadeveon Clowney.
And something I didn't mention earlier that I would like to mention now is James Conner didn't go over 20 rushing yards this last game. I think he had 18 rushing yards.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they do. This is their last season, make it or break it, and I don't think they'll make it. And I think it's going to break. I think it's time to fall apart. The Steelers have never fired a head coach.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the head coaches have always stepped down, which is a classy move. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would like to see Mike Tomlin stick around, but I don't know if he does. If they're not able to pull all this out, he might end up deciding to retire. I don't know. He's got a lot of fire still. A couple weeks ago, I remember him saying, our team sucks, which I thought was really funny.
He sees it on the walls. He knows what's coming.
It could definitely be. Anything else you want to say about that?
I think that sums up my first one. I've got a couple more, but I'd love to throw it over to you to a fun one.
Okay, well, let me start first. I'm going to do one that I'm parroting from another individual, and then I want Dallas to do his, and then I have one more. Let's start first with a take from Colin Cowherd himself. Has a lot of controversial takes, compares a lot of football relationships to marriages that I don't really care for. But I will say he has one tinfoil hat conspiracy that I absolutely love and believe.
Modeled just after him, huh?
Yeah, hopefully I'm not, but I like this take no matter what. He thinks that Bill Belichick will start Stidham in Week 17 over the Jets. Now, why would Bill Belichick do this? So, he'll start Stidham after a couple more weeks of crappy Cam Newton play, which is destined to happen. And the Jets have an easy schedule up until the Patriots. What if he just gives Stidham this thing for the rest of the week, lets them play, and then the Jets win over the Patriots? It's not really like the Patriots aren't trying to win. They're just starting a different quarterback, who's definitely worse than Cam Newton in all of the games I've seen. But if the Jets lose this game, they don't get Trevor Lawrence. They get the second overall pick, and they lose the Jaguars spot. Now, I will say once more, this is not my take. This is Colin Cowherd's take, and Dallas is changing something in his notes as I say it right now. It's so incredible. If the Jets lose the first pick to the Jaguars, then Trevor Lawrence goes to the AFC South, which would suck for Dallas, because I think Trevor Lawrence is the next coming of Christ, if you want to go that far. Definitely an incredible quarterback. Insane. Who knows? This could be Bill Belichick's mastermind plan. I don't think he's been planning to do this the whole season. I think now that he's in this position, he might decide to do this. Any thoughts?
I have to soak for a second. That's
Okay.
a lot. It's things I didn't consider. It's things that could change my Titans for years to come.
It's true. It's definitely true. Bill Belichick could not only screw over the Jets, his former team that he coached for a day, not even a day, I think it was less than like 8 hours when he decided to go to the Patriots. He could also screw over Dallas's Titans and the Texans and the Colts, teams that he's had several rivalries with. I think the only team that he wouldn't screw over would be the Broncos.
But I want you to know, much like Cam Newton's destined trash performance for the next 2 weeks, this isn't so much as tinfoil on my head, but a feeling in my gut.
Okay.
I didn't even have much to say about this conspiracy, but I'm going to have to skip over my second. What I changed on my sheet was simply circling a point that I felt, and that's that the Jets find a way to screw it up. I didn't even know what it was, Jeff.
Yeah, I told Dallas that I had a take beforehand from an analyst. I didn't even tell him the name of the analyst because I didn't want him to have seen the episode.
And I think Colin's a smart guy.
I think Colin's a decently smart guy. I think he has some decent takes.
If this finds a way to your desk, Colin, one, have a great day. Two, I think you're right. I think we could see Stidham play. But I think that's exactly when the Jets will screw it up. And they will still lose this game.
Wow. You think they're going to still lose the game even though... I mean, is that really screwing it up though?
I think they screw up in the moment, which creates the glorious dynasty for the Jets.
Wow. So you're saying that they stay true no matter who starts that game, and they start a dynasty with Trevor Lawrence.
I think
under Bill Belichick.
Who knows?
Belichick returns to New York.
I think Bill might return to New York, but specifically in this game, I think the Jets have an opportunity to win it, and much like they did earlier in the season, coming down to one play, just screw it up.
Yeah, I can't deny that. They're screwing it up in the right direction in your case.
Yes.
In my version, they're screwing it up in the wrong direction where they actually win. And
yes.
They don't want to win anymore. They're mathematically out. They're logically out. They're out. They're out. They're out.
I think to say they screw it up is a bit untrue for the long run. Mm-hmm. But for that game, I think they choke.
Wow. Do you have any other takes or anything else you wanted to mention?
Well, I love trades, so I wanted to sneak another one in. We know quarterbacks are on the table from our last conspiracy last week. Okay. But this week, another smart football player is Richard Sherman. On a team with not a lot of cap space and a lot of studs. And you have to keep your young studs.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo, he's gonna stay. I mean, how do you pay him?
I don't think he should stay.
I think he stays. I think even with the injury bug, you pay that man, you pay him a lot. Quarterbacks are harder to find than cornerbacks.
Okay.
And Richard Sherman, I think, looks really good in green.
Oh. Green and what?
Maybe some green and yellow. Maybe a snow game.
Oh. So another cornerback like Charles Woodson coming from the West Coast where he was at the Raiders. Richard Sherman similarly will come from the 49ers and travel to the Midwest to Green Bay in the cold.
I think it worked for Charles. Or he goes to the Rams, but I think whatever team he goes to, it's a team that's ready to win. It's a team with talent in the backfield already. And he might take a pay cut just to help push a team to Super Bowl contention.
Could I play a little game of horseshoe and toss my tinfoil hat on top of yours real quick?
Please do.
What if another secondary hungry team in the NFC needed a cornerback?
Okay.
A very stout zone cornerback.
Yeah, a lot of good teams in the NFC.
Yeah, what if a team that could possibly have a quarterback returning next year from a horrific ankle injury, ready to get back out there and prove his doubters wrong?
One with a great market?
Returns to Dallas with one of the best corners ever to play, Richard Sherman on the other side of the ball. What I'm saying is, in short terms, I think Richard Sherman, if he's going to be traded, should go to Dallas.
I mean, Earl Thomas wanted to be there.
And one more parallel I want to put here. What if, similarly to Deion Sanders traveled from the 49ers to the Cowboys? Richard Sherman, another stout, shit-talking corner, travels from the 49ers to the Cowboys. Almost won a Super Bowl last year. Deion Sanders did win Super Bowls with the 49ers. He comes to Dallas, wins a Super Bowl with us.
I mean, it could happen, folks.
It definitely could. Sorry to steal your take a little bit there, but I just had to let you know that there's another team that needs a secondary position.
I saw the fire in your eyes, and I mean that's exactly my point. Is that there are a lot of good teams that need cornerbacks, and I think San Fran wants to pay their quarterback.
Wow. I hope they don't for their sake. But did you have any other takes or conspiracies you wanted to mention?
No, I'll put your hat back on your head and take mine off. That sort of wraps mine up.
Thank you. So, I don't necessarily know if I need tinfoil for this, but I wanted to mention, last week I was super high on the Cowboys. I was really high flying. And Cowboys fans, let me brace you for this. I gave last week the picture of the Cowboys roaring back under a captain trade down initiative. That's still a likely thing where I think that they stick with Mike McCarthy. I think they drop Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator. Draft well with a good trade down, good free agency, win a lot next year, and the coaching hopefully self-corrects. That's one path forward. But let's look at the other path. Mike McCarthy has made mistakes this year, especially on special teams, and especially with the defense. He's not the coach of the defense right now, but he's the coach of the Cowboys. And the coach of the Cowboys is responsible for all phases of football. Whew. I think if we get rid of Mike McCarthy after this season or next season, it's time to trade every veteran that we have. Leighton Vander Esch goes. Jalen Smith goes. Ezekiel Elliott should go already. And we tag and trade Dak Prescott. I think that if we're not able to do it with Mike McCarthy right now, Thomas is catching his breath. I think if the general manager Jerry Jones does not see what he likes right now, it's time to trade everyone in this offseason. It's time to get rid of Mike McCarthy. It's time to hire an Eric Bieniemy and Arthur Smith. And it's time to draft Zach Wilson with the 4th overall pick. It's a full rebuild if this is what happens. This is not necessarily what will happen. I'm still high on the Cowboys making a dynasty under Dak, but I don't know. There's too many question marks floating around. But if Mike McCarthy isn't the answer, it's time to tag and trade Dak. Dallas is soaking it in at the moment.
I mean, I've soaked in well to immediate impact. I just can't believe what I heard. I agree with a lot. I disagree. I can't believe you would talk about trading Dak.
Listen here. Let me break down this real quick. On the one hand, Dak Prescott is an excellent quarterback who is probably going to be the passing yard leader this week if it wasn't for a horrific ankle injury. And I believe that he has much, much left of that kind of football in the tank. I think this ankle injury will be 100% fine. I think he'll be totally okay in the end. I think we just need to give him some time to kind of... I think this time to heal. He'll come back, bounce back like he was never hurt before. But is it really, after all that he's about to go through, do the Cowboys have to put him through all this? Well, he's due for a $40 million check, in my opinion. He's due to be one of the highest paid. Sorry to interrupt you, but I need to finish this. He's due for all of that, and I'm not sure if under a third coach, if that's worth it to pay Dak Prescott that much when you have Zach Wilson or a Trask or even maybe a Justin Fields if the Jaguars hit and miss on the table. Is it worth passing those guys up to pay a quarterback $40 million a year? Or is it worth dropping Mike McCarthy, rebuilding under another strongly minded coach, and trying again? These are the two paths I see forward. If it works with Mike McCarthy, we stay true to the captain trade down. If it doesn't work, we trade everyone.
Before I rebuttal, it looks like, holding a flag in mind, Lamar Jackson just had an explosive 30-second drive to give them a touchdown after a huge throw and a 17-yard touchdown run, taking it himself. I'm with you on so much on what you said, Jeff. I think you should get rid of McCarthy. But you're right. Dak deserves the best. He's done nothing wrong for the Cowboys, the best market in the world for sports, arguably.
One of the best, for sure.
So why remove him from the best market and keep some of the bad? I'm saying move in guys like Richard Sherman, sure. Trade guys like Zeke, yes. Smith should have been out of there before the trade deadline this year. But don't get rid of Dak. Just build around him. Trade that third-round pick to a quarterback-hungry team. Who knows what you could get?
And that's why I give these two paths. This is my two paths forward for the Cowboys. I don't believe that either one of these is more likely than the other. I don't believe that either one of these is more beneficial than the other. I believe in Dak, but I also don't want to see his career wasted. And I don't know if his career will be wasted under Mike McCarthy. I would like to see it be very successful. I'd like to see him pass 60 times a game and be successful every year. But it's also, when you look at the needs that we have to fix the secondary. We have to fix the linebacking core, at least one position. We have to fix the entire defensive line mostly. At least get younger guys on the ends and get new guys in the middle. You have to fix the offensive line. You have to fix the running back. There's so many needs. I think if we fix at least 3 of those, we'll be back in the Super Bowl contention. But it's hard to fix all of those 100%. Yeah. Especially with... And if Captain trade down, if we don't trade down, then... I don't know. I'm definitely high on next year. But I'm saying if next year is not certain in the eyes of the ownership, it's time to drop everyone like a bad habit.
I think you're right on one of those paths coming true. I don't know when it happened, but sometime while absorbing all that, my conspiracy tinfoil hat came back on, and I'm with you on one of those two for sure. I just hope it's more mine than the other.
I agree. I definitely would love to see Mike McCarthy become a good coach again. I'd love to see that all of his hard work paid off. And I'd love to see Dak be the man underneath him that's able to march his offense down the field. I love Kellen Moore too. I think Kellen Moore will not survive another head coach firing, even though he's a good offensive-minded coach. I think that he could get another job somewhere else while Mike McCarthy would not, if this is what happens. We'll have to see. Wait and see. But if the Cowboys are not certain about the future, definitely take a look in the mirror and think of what's best for your team's salary cap. Think of what's best for your star quarterback, and just kind of see where it goes. And I think that kind of summarizes the conspiracy corner all up for me and my team at the moment. I've given our 2 paths forward. What will happen? I think either way, within the next 10 years, we'll win a Super Bowl. I believe that firmly. I believe that there's just too much talent. It's impossible for the Cowboys to go 35 years without a Super Bowl. I do not believe it. We're already at 25 years. 10 years from now,
you're due one.
We'll have one. We are the Browns in the last 25 years. I think we are the Browns. We are the Lions. I think the Browns and the Lions are the only 2 teams that have a longer AFC/NFC championship drought than we do. So I think it's time. We got to make smart decisions now.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move into our teams. I'm done talking about my Cowboys. I'm all cowboyed out. Dallas, tell me a little bit about your Titans after all that.
Well, I do love talking about my Titans, especially after a dominant performance against the Jaguars. I've said it once tonight. I'll say it every time we stomp the Jaguars into the dirt where they belong. But there are a few key things I don't think I touched on. One of those is the QB pressures, or the lack of it on our defense. There's a lot of players that we either got that were huge free agents that didn't pan out, Vic Beasley, Jadeveon Clowney, or guys we have already, Rashaan Evans, Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons, who haven't been the same guys from last year. And it's time to ask if that's because of Mike Vrabel's defensive coordinating job or just their performance on the field. Something is different with that defense, and a lot of that roots from the lack of pressure we've had all year. A.J. Brown has continued to amaze me, and I already thought he would be one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league in a couple years. But it's another guy who's considered a top 3 in PFF, and that's Corey Davis. So 2 excellent wide receivers and a dog in the backfield with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I won't lie. I had Corey Davis kind of listed as a bust for where he was drafted up until this season.
Hey, yeah, up until this season, I think there's a lot of Titan fans, at least on the Titan subreddit, that would agree. And I didn't realize he was having as dominant of a year as he is. He doesn't have the same touchdown output as A.J. Brown, but not many do in the NFL. As far as yards and receptions go, Corey Davis has been consistent.
Yeah, and I will say one quick thing I want to say about my boys is Amari Cooper is having a quietly incredible season. He's on pace for 1,200 yards, I think, which is, a great season for a wide receiver. Excuse me, I almost called him a quarterback. He's having another great season. Amari Cooper, I would have been high on him, especially on road games. He hasn't shown himself to be that great. But he's shown himself he's proved that he can show up this year. And I'm proud of him, I'm glad that Amari Cooper showed up again. I was super ecstatic whenever he got traded to us. And I hope he continues to be the number 1 that I believe he is.
I think he is too, and I hope one of my guys shows up to be that for us.
Yeah, I think they both will. I think you guys have some stout wide receivers. I like all of them. Even Adam Humphries after that drop a couple weeks ago. I still like all of them.
And the last thing I want to talk about with my boys, just because I think it'll be a fun game for you, is a couple guys that'll hit free agency next year that I want your input on if the Titans should keep or let walk away.
Go ahead, fire away.
Well, this is a great one because just the guy we're talking about, Corey Davis. He's on his 4th year, could pick up a 5th year or let him walk. Do you see him signing a 5th year, or do you see him testing free agency? I know he doesn't have a lot of say in it.
With the future being certain on Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, I would say keep him for the 5th option. See what he's able to do after a contract year, and if he's good enough to sign, keep him. If he's not, don't, because you have A.J. Brown coming right up behind him for a big contract as well.
With a year like this, is that a guy you would pay $10 million a year?
$10 million?
Say a 3-year, $28-30 million.
I do 3 years, $28 million. I'd do that.
Another guy, Jayon Brown, unfortunately injured for the season with a elbow injury. He's in a contract year with another young guy at the position, Rashaan Evans, near him. What do you say?
With Rashaan Evans being behind him, I think you only have room for so many players, especially under a salary cap that's shrinking. I say send him off. Let him test free agency, especially after an injury. It's scary to sign anyone after they've been out all year. I think if they decided they need him,
Yeah.
But with Rashaan Evans being able to kind of make up the ground for him, I don't know if it's worth it.
It's a 2 middle linebacker defense, but I don't know how you can push money. I think he walks. I would love to see him stay, though.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see any real good linebacker go, but I think at this point it's going to be a small cap next year. I think they're probably going to have to let him go.
My last guy, and then I am done with the Titans, is Jonnu Smith. Young, fast, big tight end. Don't know if you've watched a lot of him.
I have. Jonnu Smith is an incredible athlete. Send him to the Cowboys. How about that?
I'd hate to see it, but again, a lot of money to toss, and some of that goes to Kevin Byard, some of that goes to Derrick Henry, some of that goes to Ryan Tannehill. Does some of it go to Jonnu Smith?
Well, you guys do have the former backup tight end of the Cowboys, Jeff Swaim.
Hey, Jeff Swaim had a touchdown last week after leaving the Jaguars. He had that quick stint in Jacksonville, maybe learned there's some bad teams to play for.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think Ferkser is your other tight end.
Yeah.
Neither
are fast guys. I want Jonnu back. I'm not even gonna hide it anymore. I'm not gonna pretend I don't want you to tell me he'll be back, please.
I think, he's probably going to go, unfortunately.
My heart.
I think this is going to be similar to when the Cowboys lost our corner, name is fleeting, Byron Jones.
Yeah.
Byron Jones, who one of the best corners in the league at coverage, might have not been the best at catching picks. However, he should have stayed in Dallas. I really wish he would have. He's having a great year with the Dolphins right now. But I think this is going to be the same scenario where you're going to definitely miss them, but they will probably have to go.
Yeah, I would hate to see it happen, but it sounds like what will happen.
It's unfortunate. I think you guys will be okay. I think you'll be missing the talent that Johnny Smith has, but I think it's probably his time to go, unfortunately.
We'll keep our eye on it. Maybe a few more free agents to throw at your name to replace those guys next week. But that finishes up my Titans. Do you have anything else for the Cowboys?
I think I'm done. Just wanted to make sure I shouted out Amari Cooper before the end of the pod. Last score update, 21 Ravens, 14 Browns at halftime. Get out there and watch that game if you're still able to watch it tonight, or just go back and watch it later. Watch the highlights.
Ravens already more points than I thought they'd put up.
Yeah, which is interesting. We'll have to see. But anyway, thank you guys for watching again. We'll be back next week for episode 6. Thank you guys so much. My name is Jeff.
I'm Dallas.
Have a good one.